Hello there, and welcome to What's Your Story. I have a very interesting guest for you this hour. His name is Billy Fischer, and Billy is a performer, entertainer, and been doing that for around 35 years, Billy?
Oh, yeah, ever since I was little.
Well, welcome. We're really glad to have you here. And you're a relative newcomer to Vegas.
Yeah, it'll be 6 years in November. My wife and I, we came out with 6 months worth of savings each, no jobs, 3 cats, and said, let's do this. And we're still here, so
yeah,
it's really nice.
And you're doing very well. I understand you've been performing around town.
Yes, I enjoy it. I'm doing all kinds of different projects, and that's what I moved out here for, rather than just be stuck in one genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like a band, or I'm in all kinds of bands.
Yeah. Did you
projects.
do something over at the Skyline Casino?
I did solo stuff there to tracks at Skyline, which was great because when I came out here to visit, I went to, there's a lady named Kelly Carl, and she was a hypnotist, and I saw her here perform. She's from Cleveland originally.
As are you, right?
Yes, and so I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to perform on that stage, and I ended up doing it, so it was really nice.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. I've never been out there. I mean, I've driven past it.
Oh, it's a great old school casino. I mean, I've only been here 6 years, but when I walk in there, I can imagine what it was like basically when it opened up, because there's old slot machines in there that they have all around.
Probably with the handles still.
Yeah, and the history, just looking around, is really, really cool.
Oh, I'll have to make a trip out there and check it out. Now, you're originally from Cleveland.
Yes, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio.
Went to school there.
Yes, during the busing years in the 80s. It was a rough time then, but it is what it is, and I've always been a positive type of person.
Yeah.
And,
so how did you get into music?
It goes back to my mother. My mom wrote music back in the day when I was a young kid. She wrote note for note, and she had her own publishing company.
Oh, my goodness.
She couldn't sing a lick. Couldn't sing a song at all, but she had a 45 record pressed of country songs that she wrote, that somebody sang, and my uncle was in a big band, and it was his band that we used, that she used. So I still have that 45 record, and she's always been an inspiration to me. She died when I was younger.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I have 6 siblings, so between the 6 of us, we all grew up singing and harmonizing, and so I've never stopped, really, ever since I started singing. Once I got into the music back in 1986 to do it professionally in a band. Yeah,
Did you sing in high school?
I did. I was in an elite men's singing group. Or not men's, but it was called the Marshmallows at the time.
The Marshmallows.
I went to John Marshall High School, and we did mellow music, so Marshmallow.
So it was Marshmallow.
Mellow, yeah.
Oh.
And I didn't have to audition because the same music teacher that had 2 of my brothers from way back said, "Oh, you're a Fischer? Go sit down, you're in."
Oh, well, that's
so I
good.
thank them because they
Just be glad your brothers weren't troublemakers, huh?
Oh, well, that's another story.
Well, did you take voice lessons?
I didn't, but I did. Now, in the 80s, mid-80s, I was losing my voice after gigs, and very raspy. I talk with a rasp anyhow, but I didn't like what I was doing while I was singing, so I actually took a lesson from an opera coach in Cleveland who taught rock and roll singers.
Really?
And it was all about breathing. I didn't know how to breathe back then. I knew how to sing, but I didn't know where to take it from. So he taught me how to do all that. I recorded them all on a cassette tape. And then for years, that's helped me forever. And then moved out here, and I ended up getting a polyp on my vocal cord.
Oh, no.
And I went to a doctor, and he says, well, we can have surgery to remove it, or I can send you to a speech therapist, and they can work with you on maybe shrinking it. And that's what I did, and I shrunk it down to nothing. A lot of more vocal exercises, more stretches, foods to stay away from that are not good if you want to sing, and good foods. Tomatoes, garlic, onions, blueberries. They don't want you eating any of that if you want to sing.
Isn't that interesting?
The acid in there, it's not good for you as a vocalist. I still eat it on the side, but when I know I got a show coming up, I cut it off. So.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and so far so good. And I've been able to share the experience with other singers that ask me, hey, how can you hit these notes? And I've always was able to.
Don't eat tomatoes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I send them everything that I have. I have it saved, pictures wise, and I'll send off here. Try this, and you got to keep on it. If you don't keep on it, it's not going to help. So,
Exactly.
it's nice to share that.
Well, I'm just fascinated because a few years back I got cancer, and I went to the doctor, and he said we have to change what you eat. And it was like no packaged foods, no red meat, no dairy products, no vegetables that grow below ground because they're sugar based.
Yeah.
So he changed the whole way I eat. So I found that interesting that the foods that we eat affect cancer, but that they affect your voice. I find that fascinating.
Exactly right. I liked tea back in the day, but now it's all herbal tea. There's licorice root, which is good for the vocals. Just any herbal tea with chamomile in it. That just help, and it's got to be herbal. You don't want caffeine. I drink 2 cups of coffee a day, don't get me wrong, but again, if I know I'm going to sing, I don't.
Yeah.
And it really helps,
Yeah, and I heard growing up always, drink something warm before you sing or before you speak, so you would think, oh, tea would be all right,
Exactly. I mean, even caffeine-free tea has caffeine in it. There's some form of caffeine in it. So herbal tea I love. I got all kinds now.
Oh, I do too. I discovered a new one the other day called vanilla bourbon. Ooh,
Whoa,
is that a great?
okay.
That's a really nice tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to try that.
Yeah, I was in Spokane, and a lady, I stayed up there with some friends, and she said, oh, you have to try this tea, and I tried it, and I was like, that's the best tea I think I've ever tasted.
Wow.
I don't think it's really got bourbon in it, but that's the name of it.
Sounds inviting. Let me tell you.
Now, when did you make your move to Vegas?
It was 2017. I have 2 grown children from a previous marriage in
You
Cleveland.
don't look old enough to have grown
I got 2
children.
grandchildren.
Wow.
And when my current wife, we were moving and deciding to sell the house that she grew up in, my own daughter bought her house.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it worked out really well. We had 3 cats. We had a little U-Haul. I had a buddy who moved our stuff all the way out to Vegas, kept it in storage out here. We got a condo, well, they call it a condo now, but it was an apartment then, online that they accepted cats. So we didn't know where we were moving into. We just drove, got here, and then 6 months later we found our dream home that we actually looked for a couple years prior. We put a bid in on it in Cleveland that fell through. So when we moved out here, 6 months later, that house came up to market. And like, how does this happen?
The house in Vegas?
Yeah, a house in Vegas here that we wanted all along while we were in Cleveland. So we bought the house, and so
isn't
so
that
far
wonderful?
so good. Yeah,
that you got the very house you wanted.
Exactly, it's beautiful. It's just a 1-level, 3-bedroom, nothing much, but it's ours, and we enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great. What part of town are you in?
I'm up in Anthem, Henderson.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's a great area.
It's
I like
building
that.
up around there big time. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live in Seven Hills, but
Okay. Yeah.
I made the mistake of moving to a 1-story house in an old neighborhood,
Oh.
and everything's gone wrong with that house.
Is
that could
that
go
right?
wrong with
Oh,
it. Yeah.
geez.
Yeah. In fact, this week my whole waterfall all the glass bricks just fell in the pool.
Oh, man,
It has
that's
something
not
to do
good.
with the heat.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
The heat. Although I enjoy it, I mean, I don't mind the non-humidity because in Cleveland there's humidity. It's the dry heat that got to my voice. Yeah, they call it Vegas throat. They call it.
Yes.
And that's what I ended up getting. So
but
I stay hydrated.
But
I mean,
you
the
like
water,
the heat.
Oh yeah. My wife says you don't have to shovel sunshine.
Yeah.
So in the dead of summer, you stay inside.
It's interesting that she says that because someone else just made the analogy to me this week. They said, well, yeah, Vegas is really hot in July and August and you have to stay in the house. But in February, in other parts of the country, it's really cold and there's snow and you have to stay in the house. So what's the difference? You got to stay in the house 2 months out of the year?
Exactly.
Why not be here?
The difference is I don't feel crunch when I'm walking outside in the dead of summer here.
Yeah, and you don't have to shovel. That's
yes,
really good.
Exactly.
So tell me, what have you accomplished since moving here? You evidently thought that coming to Vegas was going to make a big difference in your life.
Well, I didn't know what to expect. I know what I wanted to do. My wife is a payroll certified payroll person.
Oh, wow.
So she's my bread and butter right now still. But she's enabled me to just do what I want to do. I do a lot of assisted living homes and 55 and over homes during the month. But just being involved with, when I first moved out here, through Cleveland Ties, the Italian American Club in Cleveland, they said, okay, when you get out there, you got to go to the Italian American Club out here. And you got to go see this guy and that guy.
That's how you met Nelson?
Pretty much, yes. One of his luncheons, exactly right. So because of that, I went to the Tap House, and they had a musicians' night every Monday night. That's where I met Mark Giove, Ned Mills, Keith Neal, Mike Trey Montana. They were the house band. And because of them guys, they're the ones that said, hey, go see this guy and go see that guy, and hey, let's do this together, let's do that. So I've been able to just be in all kinds of different projects just by meeting all these people.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been great. And so I've accomplished more than what I thought I would, but I always want more. One of the main goals is to do a cruise. I would love to entertain on a cruise. That's something right out of high school I always wanted to do.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard.
Well, we'll see. You got to know the right people. So
I know some cruise people.
All right.
Maybe that can help.
Yeah.
So what do you have upcoming?
I am part of a Crosby, Stills, and Nash tribute group. It doesn't look like it, but I play David Crosby. So I grew out my mustache that my wife doesn't like too much because it's a big bushy thing that David Crosby had. I wear these taller shoes, and I play guitar and put on a hat with a wig on. And I'm the David Crosby of the group. We're called CSN Express. And Bill DeLoche, he plays the Graham Nash part. He was with Frankie Valli for 20 years, I believe.
Oh, my goodness.
And he also was with Danny Gans. Keith Neal's part of it. He plays the Stephen Stills. And together we have a Neil Young tribute as well as a Joni Mitchell.
Oh, amazing.
So it's a great 90-minute show. Before COVID, we were going on the road with it. But now we're trying to get it all back again. But through that time, I also was part of a Bee Gees tribute, Bee Gees Gold. They're based here in Vegas, but they travel all over the country. And I'm a sub for Robin Gibb.
Oh,
so
okay.
I have this look. I put blue glasses on, put a wig on. And both of those groups, I have these taller shoes that I wear. Trust me. So even though I wear these tall shoes, I'm still, but I can sing the parts, and I can, when I get into those, I call them characters. You're doing a role, so you're acting.
Right.
I really feel comfortable because it's not me. I'm acting. So, and I'm singing these parts and feeling their songs.
Yeah.
And so I love it. I sang with the Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns. I filled in on one of their gigs. There's a yacht rock group, the Windjammers, and that's Jerry Lopez as well as Santa Fe and Fat City Horns. I was able to fill in on one of their gigs. Lanny Counts is a great entertainer out here. I did a show with him a couple of years ago, and I'm doing another one in Colorado coming up in September as a background singer and playing percussion stuff. This is stuff that in Cleveland, God bless my home, but you're not going to find that.
You don't get
in
those
Cleveland.
opportunities?
No, not like you do here in Vegas.
Yeah.
So that's why I moved out here.
Yeah, wonderful.
To do all that.
I was going to ask you, but now you've kind of answered it, but you kind of skipped over it. I was going to say, do you play an instrument? But you just said guitar, then you said percussion.
I do. I play bass and guitar, harmonica, percussion, but everything is by ear. I can't read. Just as much as my ma can write note for note music notes, and she couldn't sing, I'm the opposite. I can sing and play all this stuff, but it's all by ear. So I have to listen to the record and play, and I enjoy it. But it's something, if I'm going to give the opportunity, I got to really study it.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it for 35 years. I say that, but yet I can pick it up fairly
pretty
easy.
fast.
Yeah, I'm not these hands are so small I can't do bar chords, so I just pick out the basic. George Strait, there's a joke, he every famous song he has just is 3 chords, so that's what I try to do.
So you try to be like George Strait?
Yeah, and harmonica and just in singing, I whistle, I love just doing I got in trouble in school because, I just like being goofy. Jerry Lewis is one of my fans, so anytime I can just do any fun
When I was
stuff.
growing up, I just wanted to be Jerry Lewis when I grew up.
Oh, I just everything about that guy.
Yeah, he's just so funny. Yeah, I had the opportunity to meet him a couple times here in Vegas.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I wish I would have.
Yeah,
That's great.
I used to book a lot of people for movies and television that was filmed here, and so we got to meet a lot of stars like Buddy Hackett and Dean Martin, and
that's great.
That was always fun.
Oh, growing up just watching on TV Las Vegas or the telethons and seeing all these people. I mean, I loved it then, and I pinch myself that I'm here, but I wish I would have experienced from the past.
I came here in 1962.
Oh, wow.
And my sister was the secretary to Kurt Kerkorian, who built the International Hotel.
I heard of that name.
And so consequently, she had a lot of connections, and she would always get us into all the shows. And
that's
it
great.
was awesome
I
having a
can
sister
imagine.
like that.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
I have the Crosby, Stills, Nash. We're going to be at the Italian American Club October 22nd.
Oh, I've got to make a note of that. I don't want to miss it.
It's a 90-minute show. It's a dinner show, so it's a ticketed event, but they have great shows at the Italian American Club back there.
They do have great shows.
And they just revamped their whole, they got a big, nice, huge screens now that TV-wise, and their sound system's wonderful, the lighting. Coy Shin does all that. He's such a great guy. And Jimmy Gerard and Ben Spano, and they're all Angelo Cassara that run the whole IAC. They're great people. So it's a great joy. I'm glad we're going to get in there. And outside of that, I'm with Lanny Counts in Colorado in September as well. I do
in Denver?
In I'm not sure. No, I don't know where. But he just said Colorado. So I'm like, okay. I'll do it.
I'll go to Colorado. What the heck?
Yeah, so I do a lot of assisted living homes and stuff, and I've been performing at a place called Bella Vita's at Green Valley, at the District on Tuesdays, but because of the heat, that's been on hold.
Yes.
And that's just to Tracks. To Tracks, I started out doing that probably 15 years ago. I got called out on the radio. I told the radio guy that I really liked back in the day, he was talking about Frankie Valli, and I called him up and said, I can sing Frankie Valli. You can, go ahead, punk. So I broke into Sherry. And from there, his son owned a restaurant. He called his son, listen to this kid, get him in your restaurant. And that moment is when I rented a karaoke type of system just to sing at this guy's restaurant. But I've been doing it ever since on the side.
That's fabulous.
As well as bands and everything else.
So, like, if I had a party in my home and I wanted you to entertain, I could call.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I do it. Yes, I do plenty of those.
Oh.
I have my own little sound system, my own little board, and I'll sing some for you right now. What do you want to hear?
Oh, good. Sing that Sherry song.
Sherry, baby, Sherry, can you come out tonight? Yeah.
You sound just like him.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy it. You know, I call myself a vocal impressionist. I like to imitate the artist. So when I do my stuff to tracks, the track is pretty much like the record. So I try to sing like the artist. So a lot of times people will come up, oh my gosh, I thought I was listening to the radio and you're up here singing. So that means I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
So that's what I love doing.
Who else do you do?
I do, I can do a as far as those high guys, yeah, I could do all that stuff. As far as low, I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. I just like just imitating.
You just gave me chills. You gave me chills.
Here's one I'll try real quick. Is one of my favorites. My ma turned me on to him. Is look at me, I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. I just try to imitate and just make those.
I mean, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I can't wait to see your show. That's October 22nd.
That's
Italian American Club.
Yes.
Do you do this stuff?
Oh no, it's all Crosby, Stills, and Nash stuff. All classic rock stuff. In my solo stuff, though, yeah, I'll do any kind of songs. I don't do any modern stuff. I moved out here. I have up to about 2017 of music but I still don't do any modern stuff. It's pretty much 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, some 90s, and there is some 2000 stuff, but there's so much out there to sing.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
rather just stick with what I got. Yeah.
I teach art classes, and I put music on while I'm teaching art class, and most of the time it's like golden oldies that I have on.
Sure.
And my students are all pretty young, and one day one of the students said to me, "You have the best music I think I've ever heard."
Oh, that's great.
And I wanted to say, yeah, that was the best era ever.
Big time, big time.
Yeah.
You know, I got one more show that I'm part of. It's a group called Album Palooza. And this guy's name's John Minetti. He puts on these tribute acts of all kinds of the Beatles, you name it, the Police. I'm part of a Eagles group with them.
Oh, I love the Eagles.
And we did a show at the Arizona Charlie a couple months ago. And also a Doobie Brothers / Steve Miller group, and that's going to be at Arizona Charlie's in September as well.
Oh, great.
That I'm doing percussion stuff, and I get to sing Michael McDonald and Steve Miller stuff, lead singing wise. So it's fun. That's, again, I'm so blessed.
What a good life you have, huh?
Yeah, as far as music, definitely. I mean, we love life out here. We do. We enjoy it.
So you said you and your wife came out here with your cats. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 3 cats. They were elderly rescue cats. We're down to 1.
Oh,
2 of them passed.
I'm sorry.
And once our last one passes, that's it. We might maybe take care of other people's pets, you know what I mean, or work
it's
for
a little
rescues.
hard to travel when you've got your own pets.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah. So you don't have children with this wife?
No. She's never had any kids. She's okay with that. She said her kids were her cats. I had a childhood sweetheart in 8th grade when I met my ex-wife, and we were together 22 years, married almost 30 years together, and then life goes on and it happens. But I got 2 wonderful children from a son and a daughter, and they're both musicians and athletes, and my son can sing my stuff. He plays bass right now in a band in Cleveland.
Amazing.
He just played the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame not too long ago
Oh,
with
wow.
his band. Yeah.
I bet he felt good about that.
Oh, yeah. So I can't wait to go home to see them and my grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely fabulous. So when you were growing up and wanting to be a musician and knowing that you would be, who was your hero?
Oh, geez. I knew you were going to ask that.
You did?
There's so many of them. Like, we used to have a record player, TV, radio, all in one.
We did.
It was called a Curtis Mathis. And this record player, instead of coming up from the top, I was a short guy, it came out sideways. So I would always, my ma, she turned me on to the Mills Brothers and Johnny Mathis, Nat King Cole, and Dean Martin. I mean, I heard the Rat Pack, but she had all these other records. And then I have 6 siblings, so my oldest brother turned me on to Crosby, Stills and Nash and the Eagles and stuff like that. My sister loved bubblegum music, so I got a taste of the Osmond Brothers and Jackson 5 and Motown. So because I can sing Frankie Valli, and because I grew up singing harmony with all my brothers, it's hard to pinpoint one really individual group. I love them all. The Bee Gees, because I can sing falsetto, I love that. So I can't really pinpoint. It's hard to put like if I had a top 5, they'd all be top 1s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Frankie Valli, the Eagles, America. Any yacht rock stuff with harmony, I love that stuff. I never really got into the Grateful Dead or any heavy metal. I mean, I appreciate them now, but because I was that singer that loved harmony and not that screaming stuff, I do appreciate it now. But
I don't appreciate screaming stuff.
No, you're right. I can still avoid that.
I could avoid that.
Yeah.
I could avoid that. And so, what do you see for your future?
I'm hoping that we can just keep on keeping on out here, my wife and I. We enjoy it. Again, 6 years is flying by for us. Never thought that it'd be this quick. So as long as I can keep on doing music, and I want to be that session player. You know, they say a session musician is one that's in the studio and that they used for different projects. I would love to do that. I haven't been in the studio with anybody as far as when I was in Cleveland I was, but out here I'm a session player outside the studio. I'm filling in and doing vocals and percussion for this guy, and then I'm playing guitar and singing on this guy or back around, and I love it. My name's out there of a decent guy, that I'm a friendly guy, and I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, and no drama with me at all. Just a lot of fun if you want to have fun. Yeah. So that's my goal, is to keep that going, if not more. And the cruise lines, yes.
Yes, we got to check out the cruise line for you.
Oh, that'd be great.
I was going to ask you if you knew Jeff Stavillico. Do you know Jeff?
Yes, him and his brother, right? Does he have a brother?
No, he's a magician, comic, and he runs the Win-Win Entertainment charity.
But it's funny you say that. No, that's why I know his name, because a friend of mine who knows him sent me his information and said, contact this guy. So I did, but I haven't heard back from him yet. But yes, he does.
He's been on the road. He's been on the road lately. Jeff came out here a few years ago. We're good friends. Someone told him, when you get to Vegas, look up Judy Morio, and so he did. And bless his heart, I mean, he four-walled the room in order to get himself in a hotel.
See, that's great. Wow.
Yeah. And he went out and he went from hotel to hotel, invited the valet parkers and the bellman and everybody, gave him tickets, please come, and he built himself up quite a reputation, and he just got named to the Speaker Hall of Fame, which is
great.
Quite big.
That is awesome.
But he does these win-win entertainment in the senior citizen places like what you do.
Yes.
And he also does a lot of things for hospitals and things, and he'd be a great guy for you to know because he comes from the cruise ship background.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so we need to make sure you meet him.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed doing the assisted living homes. Back in the day in Cleveland when I did them, I kind of felt guilty when I played them because I was taking money. But somebody said to me, because Billy, get that out of your head. This is a business, and do you know how much they take from these residents?
Oh, yeah.
So take the money and enjoy, which I do. But what I really love about it is when I see somebody in a wheelchair and they may not be functioning 100%, but I see a toe tapping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A little smile on their face. I love that. That goes right to my heart, and so I'll do as many of those as I can.
Anytime you can make somebody have a little bit better
I do goofy
day.
stuff. The whole Jerry Lewis thing comes to mind. I'll do when I do Ain't That a Kick in the Head, I try to imitate and be Dean Martin, but I'll kick, and I'll kick my feet up, and I'll make one shoe go flying, and I'll go running after it, and they're all, what's going, they're laughing.
As long as you don't hit anybody with it, you're in good shape.
Oh, that's all right.
That's you.
Stayed on her. So yeah, I mean, again, anything I can do spontaneity, I mean, just off the cuff, I'll do it.
So what would you say is your greatest accomplishment so far?
Oh, geez. Personally, I'd have to say my children and just being alive. I mean, to be honest with you, my parents died, both of them, when I was young.
Really? I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, that's all right. I mean, life goes on, but I think my dad died at 44, and my mom at 48.
That's young.
So, man, at that time, this is when I realized early on that life is life, and enjoy. Don't let the little things, bother you. You just keep on keeping on. So, man, I've used that philosophy and I run with it.
It's a great philosophy.
So far, so good. We're all still here, all my siblings. It's just, God wanted them, so hopefully they're watching over us.
Now, if somebody out there wants to hire you to do their party or their event or their venue, how do they get a hold of you?
I have a website that needs desperately updated, so I will be doing that. It's called littlebillyfisher.com. That's
Billy Fischer.
Yes, there's a guy in California who has billyfisher.com, and he's a race car driver. So I figured, well, Little works for me. So last name is Fischer. So littlebillyfisher.com, and then I do have a Facebook page that you can go to as well, and I post my gigs on there. But I really want to revamp my website because there's so much that I've done out here that I want to put on my website, and I haven't yet.
Right.
All the accomplishments of singing with the Bee Gees group, Beach, or what else do I? Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and the Doobie Brothers. I want to put all that on there.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a little hard to keep the website updated, the Facebook page updated, do the entertainment, do life.
It is, especially when you're doing it by yourself, you know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm a stickler on certain things, so I kind of like doing it myself. I like when people help, but I don't know. I just want to make sure everything's, running smoothly.
Yeah.
So, and if it doesn't, it's my fault.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you are a real pleasure.
Oh,
I
thank
want to
you,
tell
Judy.
you, I've thoroughly enjoyed.
My sister's name is Judy. So
Oh, really?
Thank you so much.
Oh, I've really
for having-
enjoyed spending time with you. I hope that we can get out there on October 22nd.
Oh
and-
yeah. If not,
and
if
see
you want, I'll sing for you anytime. You know.
I'll just call you up and say, "Would you sing?"
It's funny you say that because my phone, when you call my phone and leave a message, at the end of that, I'll say your spiel, my name. Hey, if you want to leave me a message after the beep, and then I say, well, have a nice. What do I sing? It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Oh, I love
break
it.
into that song. Yeah.
I love it.
I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Yeah, and they leave a message. Oh, thank you so much for that. It makes me happy.
You can make a fortune doing that for other people.
I never thought of that. You're right.
Yeah, you could make those where people could buy your tapes for their phone.
Oh, you know what? And I will come back and give you a CD that I have in my car for you that I did in Cleveland, and it's all falsetto singers.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I will give that to you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We're going to
Thank
put
you,
your
Judy.
information up on the screen.
All right.
And,
Appreciate it.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know that you loved my guest today because I did. And we'll see you again next week.